what's up, everybody? This is Gary Holt from Exodus and formerly from Slayer, and you're listening to The Razor's Edge.
Welcome back to The Razor's Edge. My name is Chris. I have the privilege today of talking to the awesome Richie from the amazing Incite. Thank you so much for joining me today, dude. How are you doing?
What up, Chris? What up, metalheads? All is good, man. Glad to be here talking with you and pumping this new record out there.
Absolutely. Also, exciting news right off the bat. As we just mentioned, you will soon be dropping, I believe, your 7th studio album, Savage New Times, on August 15th. This might be the earliest I've ever had access to an album, I must say.
Yeah, man, it's been cool. They've been pumping 5 singles they're gonna do out of this CD, so they're getting it out there and really trying to just build the band and get people to know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, awesome. So congrats with it, by the way, dude. I've heard it a load of times already. It sounds absolutely amazing. So, how long have you been working on this one?
This one we had done about a year ago, and we probably put about a year into it. You know, I think once you kind of finish your previous record, you're already like in that mode of going towards the next record and getting ideas built, and that's what we did, and it came out phenomenal. We're stoked. I'm glad you're digging it, and the production I think is phenomenal. The songs are fun, organic, really different, but cohesive at the end of the CD. It's just a cool flow for people to get into.
Yeah, definitely. I bet it's awesome to finally get it out there, I guess, after a year.
Yeah, and then we had like a record label change and a management change, so everybody wanted to come in and get everything right, dialed in. Make sure they weren't fucking it up with having such a good record on their hands.
Yeah, for sure. Was that frustrating to have all that logistical change when you're trying to get this done?
Dude, that's the worst. Like that's like, you feel like you have these good people and you're like, oh, this is going to work. And then it's like, nope, damn. Okay. So then you just, you try to go and fall back on what we've learned throughout these years of being, together and learning. And that's what we did. And we ended up with a killer team with RPM, Meshuggah and Opeth and just like, damn, Kerry King, so many bands and, FM Music Management from Exodus and Testament and so many cool people. So we've got the right pieces now, and we gave them a killer record, so it's all kind of gelling.
Great stuff. Cool. So, as we said, the album is called Savage New Times. Now, I'm sure not going to win any prizes here for stating the obvious, but does that title of the album suggest it's about the modern day that we currently find ourselves in?
I think that's like a little bit of it, but it was mostly a tribute to each guy. We all went through some intense periods in different ways and different battles that like forced us to like really think about if music's the way and this band or whatever, so that coalesced with, I think, kind of like society and culture and all this stuff that's taking place. And it just like bred this perfect album of, topics, I think, that deal with so much of what's going on, but also in a personal aspect. So this record creates a awesome like vibe for the listener to like make their own relation to the songs, and I think it's definitely relatable as hell.
Yeah, cool. So what can people expect from this album musically? Will it be what fans have come to expect from Incite, or have you tried anything a bit different?
I think that's what makes this one so cool. It's like each record we may have touched on like doing something out of the box or different and never really capitalizing on that. With this one, I think that all comes together with the addition of Lane on guitar. He's brought such a huge part to this band and writing and performance and work ethic and all the things. So it's created this great record that has so much balance, from like rippers at the beginning like Lies and Feel This Shit to Chucked Off and Just a Rap that give it that more kind of suicidal tendencies and groove vibe to it. But then you have a song like Dolores that's so like damn, but comes at the perfect time and really challenges the listener to hear the parts that come and you're not expecting what we do, and so on and so forth. The rest of the record after that is just incredible too, to the outro of Savage New Times, the song, which I think rips.
Yeah, so how did Lane come into the fold as the new member?
Yeah, we were kind of like in this like you know, weird section of like being a band where we didn't know who was going to be the guy. We had like Eli Santana from what the hell, Holy Grail, and he's singing for Ignite now, but he just kind of more was like a helpful friend of ours that came in and got us this record done on Wake Up Dead and toured for us and really kept us moving until we really solidified that guy. And our agent who books our shows hit us up and he's like, dude, I know it's really dope, Canadian bro. He's just kind of like quiet and chills, but he shreds, and we're like, damn. And he's like 29 and, we're all like 38. We're like, oh, okay, sure. Let's give it a try. He comes out on this headline tour and those are difficult. They're small crowds. There's no food. You're in the pits grinding, you got no nothing. So he came out and he literally was like, damn, dude, where have you been for, 15 years? And that's how it's proceeded ever since then. Nothing's changed. He's just so dedicated and looking forward, and he's just such a cool cat and fun guy, and his musical taste is insane, from playing the piano parts to 12-string guitars, all the stuff he did on this record that we've never been able to do. So I think the listener will grasp that stuff too.
Yeah, for sure. When you're looking for a new member for your band, I guess generally speaking, what's more important, if they're a great player or if they've got a good attitude?
That's it'd been so long since I changed a guy, so it was weird to do it, but at the same time I had like two other guys that I've been with for so long, so it was like a team effort. And I think we just really wanted somebody that was like humble and a great player, because it's like you don't come into the band and expect to be like first class buses and crew guys and all this glorious stuff. It's like a hard band, and he came in that like perfect role. So that's what you really want to have from the ground up, and then obviously skills and the other things are also nice.
Yeah, no kidding. Cool. So, as we've already mentioned, a few songs are out already, but I have to talk about the opening track, Lies. It sounds absolutely monstrous. I loved it. As an opening track, I like an opening track to feel like an opening track, give the album a big bang, so to speak. So did you conceive it as an opening track, or did that just happen?
That actually, like, to me, is one of the most important things in the record. From all of our records, from Built to Destroy opening that one, or Up in Hell opening the one. I've always needed that monster track, and when I was listening to the demos, I think I had about 6 or 7 songs, and that one was like instantly, you're like, damn, this is the album opener, and the way it evolved during writing and recording it definitely turned into a monster song, and to be a huge album statement, to be like, yo, this is what you're in for. Is cool, and I love that aggressiveness that flows into that outro piece that creates this like total like, holy shit, I didn't expect that to come in, and then go into like fuck with me next. So yeah, I'm glad you dig that, man. Everybody's like digging different tracks, which is cool, and
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
that song will actually be the next single too, which is tight.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, awesome. Can't wait for people to hear it because it's really, really good. Another song, though, which is already out, I believe, Just a Rat, is also really, really cool. What makes you throw in some slightly different vocal delivery for that one?
Yeah, that's been my big thing. I think on the early records, I kind of like stayed in the same voice for an entire record, and it just became very, robotic to me now. Like when I listen to them and shit, and that I've been striving for this new delivery, new way, and I really felt like I grasped that on Wake Up Dead with like Deadbeat and Mental Destruction, and really challenging my vocal range and feeling comfortable with doing songs like Dolores or Just a Rat or Chucked Off or Doubts and Fears. It's like, damn, I'm gonna put myself out there, and people probably expect to hear this ooh the whole time, but then you're like giving them that, and it was like, it was nerve-wracking, but it's cool, man. Like, to hear it back, and I'm like so satisfied with it, compared to like how I probably used to feel listening to like the first or second record. I was like, damn, that sucks.
Cool.
But that's what's cool about music. You grow and you can get better all the time. That's like the best part. It's not like a natural skill. Like those dudes come out and they're good right away, but the other ones, they harness this stuff over time and just developing it and trying shit.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. So, speaking of the early days, though, how did Incite come to be as a project? Where did it all begin?
Yeah, I was like, so immersed in heavy metal, and I tried starting a couple bands, throughout high school, but that stuff just like really never works. It just falls apart. Everybody's like fucking mess. So like when I was like just graduating, and a couple dudes that had a band going already, they were like just fired their singer, and I knew a couple of these dudes, and it was like, yeah, let's jam, and then it evolved into like partying and playing house parties, and then like the local scene in Arizona at the time was like really rad. You could be a new band. There was tons of big local bands putting on shows all the time, tons of great places to play. The people came out. So for us, we like got hyped on playing a couple shows. We were like, oh man, this is cooler than I remember, like just doing like talent shows and shit. So finally was like we put that together, and the local shows got better and bigger, and the band got tighter, and we started to just like go on tour and try shit like that and fail a whole bunch on that, and just kept going. And one day they all walk in and they're like, you know what? We're going to quit. And we want you to actually come be the manager of our new band we're starting. And I was like, damn, that's fucked up. Because I was like 20 at the time. I was like not that great. I was just getting into who I was as a singer and shit. And, it's funny how that came about, and like all these records later. And like, I don't think like any of them play music anymore. So it's like,
Wow.
yeah, it's cool how that stuff always comes about. But yeah, the band was just like a thing we were just trying, and evolved into something I never would have thought be 20 years later.
Of
But
course.
I'm honored as fuck.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure you've been asked this endlessly over the years, so I'll keep it brief. You come from quite the heritage, stepson of Max Cavalera, of course. So, was Max there as an inspiration in his early days, or did your influences come from other places?
It's a little bit of both. My mom, she was a big time, metalhead, independent mom, raising, us kids. She really, struggled. I had a deadbeat dad that sucked, and, she went off and tried this new thing, and she started this like metal bar in Arizona in like 1984, 85. And it brought metal into our life in every aspect. Now all of a sudden I'm like coming home from the hospital as a baby, and like Rob Halford's like coming in and like throwing me the horns, and then it was like Sacred Reich and Atrophy and like Flotsam and Jetsam, where they, found Jason Newsted, he was playing there like close with my mom and family and shit. And then it's like she started grinding and getting bigger and talked about, and and then Sepultura and her and Max, and then that brought it even further of what I love to do, because I was always like, I need to go on tour, I need to check this out. I was like all into it. In my early days, I'd be like asking for microphones, and just really, really loved it, and just kept it going, kept it going. And now to be here, like continuing on that legacy in another way, presenting it to different metalheads out in the world is truly cool and special, and honored to have like this path that's been there, and that I was able to kick ass at with cool people around me.
Yeah, definitely. This is coming to my head now, but I was curious. I recently did a video on my own YouTube channel months ago about the band Vended. Don't know if you know them. They got members related, of course, to Slipknot.
Yeah.
The point of the video is that they get a heck of a lot of crap from people for saying that their success is handed to them because they got established ties and whatnot. Have you ever encountered criticism from people calling it nepotism, any of that rubbish, that kind of thing?
I mean, in the early days, like it was like 05, 06, where I was first being put out like in the public of like playing in a band. And prior to that, I was coming out and singing like Bleed, and like singing with Pantera and all this other shit as like a 10-year-old. So I think, when I came out, I was like the first kid in metal that really was like trying to follow in the family, footsteps. It was so prevalent in acting and sports and
Mm.
everywhere else. But this was like, no, dude, you don't do that. When we were discussing with like my first really small record label, I like put my first album up there, like, do we want to like change your name and shit?
Wow.
Might be a little easier, and I was just like, no, let's just roll with it. I'm a hard ass worker, cool ass dude, I like to think. So I think metalheads are like they'll get the read. They'll understand what you're doing this for. If you are doing it for money, you might get those like, whatever dudes that don't give a shit, but they'll just still support it. But with me, it was like, man, I'm grinding. I'm doing this all, on my own from the ground up. Yeah, I'll be like, yo, what's up with like a tour here and there, to keep the band alive and going and out there in public. But as far as that, it's like you do it yourself, you do it your own, you make it happen. The guys work their asses off, and people say whatever, especially with online now.
Wow, yeah.
But I think those kids today, they'll have it way easier in terms of like people being okay and accepting of it. It's way more accepted in my eyes now than it was in 05, 06 when I was starting. It's total different landscape of the world of metal.
Yeah, fair enough. Speaking of the grind, though, obviously, I was going to say, because I think the first time I saw you guys was back in 2019 at Bloodstock Festival here in the UK, which I think was six years ago now, Jesus Christ. But anyway, my point being, you guys have been plugging away at the UK, I think, for quite a long time before you even got to that point. So what's been the progression like working from the bottom of those smaller venues to then getting to something like Bloodstock? What does that grind look like?
Oh, it's cool, man. I mean, we've done probably more UK tours than anywhere else other than like America, for sure. We've been very fortunate to be able to come here, and we've done countless headline tours of playing for 6 people, or just, I think Birmingham, like our first headline show there was like 20, like 15 or 16, and it was just the bartender and the sound dude. It was like, it was hard, and it was like, damn, we don't play for anybody. But then we started to get a little bit of traction with tours like the Cancer Bats. El Nino even took us over there to do a couple shows. We did a Soulfly tour over there, and then it started to grow. We like did a headline tour around like 2018, and it was like, damn, we had like 100 kids at a show, and it was like, holy shit, that was like, became our focus out of the whole world. Like, we need to hit here harder. Like, I know like bands can blow up just from getting big in the UK. Like, that's the power of what they can do. So yeah, we really like focused on it, and did another Cancer Bats tour, and led us to Bloodstock, and that was like the top of the mountain for us, even to be the first band on the first day. Like, it was like, dude, we're here, we did this. Like, it was crazy to us. It was like something that I'll never forget in my own like personal music experience of Incite and what it's done. But then COVID happened and all that shit, and it really put the boots to us. We were doing a tour in Europe as everything was like shutting down, so we started in the UK, then you guys like shut down. It was like France, and it just kept spiraling. And then we got to come back in 2023 as a part of the Cavalera brothers tour, which was insane. Like, to come back and see the reaction of the crowds that we were getting every night was like, left us speechless. Like, the London show was like truly one of the, like, also one of those big moments for us where it was just going ape shit, and you felt like we need to be here a lot. So we are gonna be here a lot going forward too.
I'm totally okay with that. Cool. So, what would you say which side of this makes the grind worth it? Is it putting out the music or playing those live shows?
To me, it's always been like the live shows. That was like always my favorite. Rocking with people, cultures, hanging with the bros, like bro time. That's always been just something so special. And on top of that, being like therapeutic and healthy, and a form of release, like, that keeps us all sane, I think. And now it's really elevated the studio. I enjoy being home a little more now and creating songs, and with the songs that we're making now, it's piqued my interest even more in what we're doing, because I'm even more of a fan of like these past 2 records than I have been of other ones, in terms of styles and like what I would personally dig or turn on. So I'm liking it.
Brilliant. Okay, and to bring it all the way back up to today, what song of the new album, which has not been released yet, are you really excited for people to finally get to listen to?
Damn, that's fucked up. I would say the whole thing, but I would go Doubts and the Fear. That song, it's nasty. The guitar, the drums, I think the vocal cadence really hits hard, and people will grasp it. And then the topic of the song, we all battle our own mind, I think, more than anything else that we go through, like whether it's to change or get better or work, whatever it is. It's like we're always doubting ourselves, which brings fear and etc. And it's just kind of that song. It's like, I don't need to feel that way anymore. I can push through that shit. I can beat this. evolved my life to be better.
Brilliant, awesome. Of course, the album is a couple months away. People have got to wait a little bit longer. But did you say there were a couple more singles coming?
Yeah, we're gonna drop Lies June 25th with an awesome video. It's super cool. We did a bunch of lyric videos. Now it's gonna get more into like cinematic live stuff, and then we'll do the Summer Slaughter tour, and then we're gonna release the record and our final single, Savage New Times, on record release day. So that's killer. And Jim Laveau did the video, and it's unbelievable. It's gonna blow people's mind. And then like them to like still have 5 songs that are literally equally as good as the other 5 that just came out as singles. And I think that's what is going to catch people. It's going to be like, damn, there's not one song I'm like, oh, that sucked, like that, or like I skipped it. Like it's like a repeat record, and I'm stoked. August 15th, you can pre-order it now. Puke green vinyl, you know, they got all that cool collector stuff too to spice up the deal, and you know, check it out.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, after the release of the album, I think you just mentioned the tour, but I was going to ask, what does the rest of 2025 have in store for Incite?
Yeah, we're doing back-to-back US tours. So it's like one in July with Hatebreed, and then one in September, October, I believe, with 6 Feet Under. So we're really stoked about that. And then next year is like the focus of Europe, at least 1 or 2 tours over there, South America, and everywhere else, man. We're taking this record everywhere as the buzz is like growing and people are like really fired up for it.
Fantastic. Cool. That's all I've got. Thank you so much, dude, for joining me today. It's been a pleasure.
Hey, Chris, thank you so much, man.
Incite's new album, Savage New Times, drops on August 15th. Make sure you all check it out. It's full of fire and fury, everything you want in a metal album. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Chris. Thanks, Ricky, for joining me, and we'll see you in the next one.
For listening. Make sure you keep up to date with all of our interviews by subscribing to our channel. For all the latest news, reviews, interviews, and more, head over to our website, www.therazorsedge.rocks.